Hello everybody, welcome to another rapid speedrun game against Manny1157, rated 1150. He responds to e4 with e5, brings his knight out, and now we can put two pawns in the center, open up all of our pieces as he plays the very common d6. You could just continue developing with bishop c4, but I'm going to continue down the path we've been going and explore that part of chess. So he takes back with the pawn, so now we get to take the queen, and he either loses the pawn or loses castling rights. He chooses to keep castling rights and lose the pawn. So I'm going to take the pawn in the center, and now if I can hold on to all of my pawns, I have a win condition, this extra e-pawn. But his pieces are also open, but luckily his knight's blocking his rook, so he'll have to waste another turn bringing it out. Okay, my thing froze. There we go. So bishop e6 doesn't threaten anything, but it does stop. Well, it doesn't stop my bishop from coming here thanks to my knight, actually. So I think I should actually do that, use this opportunity, remove his most active piece, develop a piece of my own actively, and if he takes, I get to remove my knight. Okay, so he doesn't take. I don't want to help develop his knight on purpose, and he is attacking my pawn. I'm just going to play this solidifying move so I never have to defend this e4 pawn with a piece. I like to do this in these queenless middle games because it kind of dominates the knight. I never have to worry about pressure on it, and then I could choose to develop differently with my other pieces. Like if you just develop the knight and defend it, he'll pin it, and that's what he wants. So okay, so now he's attacking the knight, and my bishop's attacked, so I can't leave things the way they are. So I'm going to take his bishop and develop his knight because I have stuff hanging. And now my knight is under attack, but I'm going to retreat it off of this square for free because the bishop is stronger than the knight here. I'll gladly take that dark square bishop if he lets me, and if he doesn't want to let me, he has to spend a whole nother turn moving it. If he goes here, we have a response ready. If he goes here, we have a response ready. So unless he wants to go passive, so he chooses this one, we're just going to develop. Again, our knight is protecting the bishop developing move similar to our light square bishop. So it's cool. And we have our extra pawn. So now there are no bishops on the board. He has the ability to castle either direction, but instead of developing, he jumps his knight in. You might want to do this and say, oh, I'm improving for free, but it's not for free because the knight defends that square. That's what makes it a bad move, is the knight's already defending. I don't need to waste a turn. So I can immediately just kick it out of the center if I felt like it. Or I could develop my knight. Do I want to develop my knight here? Probably. Here, I mean, it's also possible. Actually, I'm just going to go with this one. I want to pick the more active square for my knight. I'll leave his knight here for another, like it's not doing anything, so I'll leave it here for a little bit. I can always kick it whenever I feel like it. I just want a long castle faster, so I don't want to make a pawn move. I want to develop the knight and long castle as opposed to short castle because it's more energetic, brings the rook to the d file. He goes here, which looks at the f4 square, but again, there's no threats there, and my knight beautifully defends everything he could target. So it's a great square on e3. And now we get to long castle for free as the rook hits the knight in the center. And we didn't have to spend a turn on c3. I mean, he could defend it with a pawn if he wants, but again, he's not moving pieces. He's not improving his position. He's just putting his knights on vulnerable squares. And we're building up our position. Our knights look better than his. Our king is better. Our rook is better. Our center's better. We're up a pawn. So he castles, chooses to defend it this way. That makes sense. So you could do any number of things. And I think you could just get all your pieces in the game. It's the most simple. Of course, there are other moves. You can move your king. You could push different pawns. You could jump your knights around. But let's get our last piece in the game. Down this highway, the only open highway, and our knights look like, you know, those air traffic controller guys just directing our rooks this way, this way. So that's what I'm going to do. Keep it easy, simple. When you're not too good at chess, it's best to keep things simple. So that's what I do. When you're not too good at life, also best to keep things simple. Don't complicate the chessboard for no reason. So he jumps the knight in here, but this square is defended twice. This square is defended twice. So I'm just going to continue along my doubling path. All of my pieces are in the game, and it comes with a threat on the knight. So I'm not sure what he's going to do. At any moment, we can play g3 and say, why'd you put your knight there? But let's see how he handles the knight in the center, because that's priority. Maybe he retreats and tries to stabilize it that way, but that looks fishy. But let's see, let him figure it out. So he just retreats the knight. This offers a trade of rooks, but it also blocks a c-pawn. So now if I plant the knight on this square, it's like a pseudo outpost since he can't push. Also, he's not coordinating here, so I no longer need the knight's defense, so I could jump it in. Just holding off the rook trade a little longer. Not that it matters. Trades are wins since I have my win condition. I could also start by kicking his knight. That way when I get a knight here, he can't even trade. And if he goes back to come in, I'll have the c-pawn. So let's kick this knight off of our side of the board. He will likely go here, unless he thinks this is a good idea, but it's probably not. So maybe he goes here, and then we can jump in. I like my knight on e3. I don't want to move it. I'd rather move the other knight, because I don't need defense. Okay, so he does go the other way, which is funny. Still going to jump my knight in. He can go here if he wants. I'll just kick him again. I mean, I'm not threatening anything. I just have an obviously very harmonious position. Our pieces are all working synergistically. It's very nice. So he does jump his knight here, but I can just keep advancing my pawns thanks to everything he's doing. So I might as well. I have a nice pawn duo now. And he doesn't have any forward jumps. I mean, he could go here, but isn't that asking for trouble? Maybe not. Can he get out? Yeah, because if you attack it, maybe he can escape. And if you attack it, I mean, it's not good. He's running all over the place. I guess maybe here. No, I'll go down that line. I mean, it's perfectly good for us. It's kind of funny for him to go. He attempts it, but I don't like this for him at all because he goes down a forced line where I just get to attack everything. Now I get in my C3 for free, so he can never jump in the future. He has to go to this weird square. I get in more free expansion moves, and he still has to go on some weird journeys where I keep hitting stuff. It's just going to give me like 6 free moves, so I don't think this is correct, but it's fun. Definitely is fun. Maybe he'll just go back here and simplify, but then what was the point of his whole around the world maneuver? In any case, if he whatever he does, I'm gonna put my rook back and double, and our position is just really good. Okay, we have a great pawn structure. Now we even have a square for our king. So we have tons of improving moves. Our pieces are very well placed, while his rooks are defensive at best. If he ever tries to double, he has to be careful for something like check. Giving up the knight, he takes the knight, we take a rook. Right? Sneaky. But it's kind of natural for him to try this, so I could see him walking into that, especially at 1150. Absolutely. Much higher than that, they'll still walk into it, actually. 1300s, 1400s, they're going to walk right into this. Unless they, if they don't see other moves. Like maybe he'll want to move the knight a 30th time. But instead he chooses to go for the pawn. This doesn't actually do anything. He can't ever really develop his rook because he needs to keep them connected, ideally. Yeah. Okay, so our knight doesn't really need this beautiful, like this much support. You know, he doesn't have, he's not even being attacked. So I kind of want to move the other knight, advance it into his position, hit stuff, move it more forward into his position. And this is a funny construction, a parallelogram of knights. When was the last time you heard that? Never. So g6, attacking the knight, but I wanted to jump it in here anyway. We also could jump it in here, which looks really cool, but it's more, it just looks cool than anything. Let's go in here. It's just like it finally fits. If you put your knight here and king here, everything is just interlocked and like perfect looking. And that makes me happy. But I moved my knight here, so I imagine he's going to take it, right? And then when we give the check, he has to move away. And we could go for mass trades, but lucky for him, his knight's here to defend. Maybe we can do something. So he moves his king because he thinks he's going to lose the rook. So now we could definitely just mess up his structure. And we're up our pawn. So now he has endgame weaknesses, another win condition. We can immediately attack them for free. If we try to kick the knight, our knight's also hanging. I mean, you could also do it from here and not be in his position, like trapped. So I'll just go this way. It also has this weird extra check, but the idea is to hit the pawn, offer trades in a winning endgame. Now we can potentially kick the knight and force more trades, but I'm going to keep this pawn structure. We don't need to kick the knight, because even if you try to kick the knight to win the rook, he's just going to take your rook first. Then you messed up your pawn structure for no reason. So he takes our rook, we take back. He moves his knight, which threatens the pawn, but check, he moves the king. Can we move to save the pawn? Not necessarily. Let's take a timeout since we already have our win to just push and create this pawn chain. He can go here, but now it has no effect. So he protects the pawn instead. He's also protecting the infiltration square. So let's remaneuver our knight because it doesn't really belong here. But you could go this way. He'll go here. You'll go here. And then he'll put his rook here. So let's go this way and not block the d-file. So he can't put his rook here. And now we can kick the knight, or we can remaneuver this way. We really just want to kick the knight so we can infiltrate. But he moves it all on his own with no threats. So now we can infiltrate. Now we could put our knight in the center without fear of blocking our rook and give our king back its square. Okay, he protects the pawn, which we like to see. As we improve our knight, followed by improving our king. Okay, he attacks the rook. I guess you don't really have a choice, so let's move it. He can attack it one more time, but that would be a mistake. He does attack it one more time. It is a mistake, and he has to go back. It's a forced move. It's not something you could think about because you only have one square. But he only has 10 seconds, so I guess he's just running out the clock. I'm going to pre-move king b1 for fun. And he just let the clock run out, but because it was only with, I don't know, 15 seconds, we were not gonna give him too much. What's the word? Hassle. Anyway, let's go over the game. We try to get a Scotch Gambit, but he does not take and goes down this Philidor-ish line. But we know what happens. Regardless of which knight he develops, when he plays d6, we take. He takes, we trade queens in order to force him into a concession. He should just lose castling rights and protect his pawn, but he chooses the worst option, going into a completely losing game by giving us a central pawn for free on move 6. So now we have development, center, and liquidation. Now we have forced move and center. Forced move because we had stuff hanging. Forced move because our knight's hanging. Development, center, force move, +2. So just completely winning already here by your pawn. That's all you need is one little pawn in an endgame. Development, center, king safety. King safety, development for free. This is development and center, preparing doubling. Developing my last piece, center, for free. Okay, improve our position for free. Improve a knight in the center, +3. Improve our position for free. Okay, let's say force move. You just move your rook in either direction. Improve our position for free. Doubling just improves the rook. Improve the knight, not for free, but improves the knight. Okay, let's say force move for free, +3.3. So here, if he takes the knight, and we take the knight, and he moves the king, and we take the rook, and he takes the rook, we take the rook, he takes the knight, and it's +4. You're only up this pawn, but your knight's in his face, his king can't go this way, his pawn's hit, these guys are pretty far advanced. You immediately are going to bring your king to the center, and so even though you don't win a rook, it's still +4. But he didn't take because he didn't want to trade everything, I guess. He moved his king, so I just took his knight. Free stuff, messing up his structure. Force move, and force move for free. So he takes force move. He goes here. Okay, you could take the pawn, but you also don't have to. We just push. And now rerouting, I mean improving our piece. Okay, improving our piece for free. Improving our piece towards the center. Force move. Free stuff. And he loses. So no mistakes, no blunders. 93%. Pretty good game. Hopefully you learned something. Good luck in your chess and goodbye.